Hello, Boris Pravisham here. Welcome back to the Nidd Whitelist server. I've been a little ill for the past few days. That's why there was basically an episode a day for a week, and then there was nothing for a few days. Sorry about that, but as far as visuals and aesthetics go, I haven't done that much. I've done a bit more work in the control panel, that kind of thing. So there isn't as much to actually look at that isn't, boring numbers, but so we'll start up here. This comes out of the... Oh, I can't go down there anymore. Right, I'm going to have to fly back. This is a great way to start, isn't it? So, over there, those blue containers, I was kind of trying to come up with some color ideas, and I went for these sort of hazier blue and greens. I don't know. I quite like that blue. Maybe on a ship. I'm not sure. Inside a warehouse. This is supposed to be a warehouse. But yeah, so these blue ones hold the components, and that runs back out, and that's going to be kind of like the main artery for the components. Anything that requires components is going to run off that, and that runs up through the roof. I'm going to put some lights up in here. That's my normal thing. I tend to have lights in front of vents, have them back a couple of blocks, and with a lesser intensity, and that sort of just shines through the grate. And that line in DX11, this looks quite nice through the grate as well, having because the spots glow in the dark. So when you look up through the grate, you can see those glowing spots. It looks quite nice. So that'll run out here. My plan here, and I'll talk about DX11 as well as the the state of the game and the server in a second. But if we get this far, and that is the big asterisk on anything, is that it really depends on how far the game will let us play in multiplayer. But yeah, my aim out here is Anubis has built the big glory hole donut thing, or is building, and that's supposed to be a factory 3D printing thing for large ships, or really ships of all sizes, but predominantly large ships. I don't know how well it would handle a really small ship. So in here, I was thinking of making a higher tech looking small printer, if that makes sense. So this would be a bright white room. In here would be like a little viewing area with all the controls, and you would look through a window, and out in here would be the area with I would try and make everything to be as precise as possible, so you can make small ships. And of course it's not going to be terribly functional, because of course you probably could make a ship maybe the school bus size, or those ones, probably not the Postman Pat size. I hope you're playing the theme song, by the way. I don't know if you can make something that small and sort of delicate in Anubis' glory hole, but yeah, anyway, as far as functionality goes, there are, Nordic's got a far better thing, but to try and make it look try and make something functional for an aesthetic purpose. I think there are two main ways you can try and come up with a functional build, and that is a functional and aesthetic build, and that is to start with an aesthetic and then try and make it functional, or start with a function and try and make it aesthetic. This entire base, if we just quickly fly out and have a look at the thing, the function that I wanted was to have a round base in that sort of torus-shaped hole. So I started with that idea, and then I'm going to slowly mold it into something that looks acceptable. Whereas the center, why do I always look for it? But yeah, up there in the center, if you're watching the Merry Friends series, we're building the post office, and that one I started with an aesthetic that I wanted, and then I'm going to try and make it functional. So yeah, and the function of fitting in a round hole is a little bit debatable, but yeah. Anyway, so this one's going to be an aesthetic room, sort of make it look very high-tech and have this sort of pressurized sealed room as if it was all sterile and that kind of thing. So that's what that line's going to be for. It's going to feed the welders that would weld that sort of thing up. And I'm hoping to be able to display projections and stuff. But anyway, so the main thing with so we'll start with DX11. We'll come in here and sit in the lights, I think. Maybe before I start talking, I'll just show what I've done here. So anything in that corner I haven't finished yet, although I haven't painted anything, and I think if we ever get the chance to put mods in here, then that's what will go on the floor. I've mentioned that before, but there's some good decoration mods with like construction pieces and stuff like that, and you can put them on the floor and fill this space up a bit better. Sort of make it not look like those cargo containers are out of place. Then this will be the office in here. I've still got to make this look well, there's obviously nothing in here, but from the outside I'm not happy with the look of it. It looks a little bit, it's just sort of this lump on the side. Then down in the assembly, the refinery room I've done. I'm happy with this. I do quite like that design at the end there. That there, I'll have to get Sal to weld that. Not because I couldn't be bothered getting one construction component out, but because I can't weld it. Every time I try and try to weld that, it steals my construction component and then doesn't build. So I've given up on that light. So that room's done, apart from colour. I've got this little room up here. I don't really know what this one's going to be for, but this was an accidental room. It just kind of happened. I'm going to close the top off there because there's going to be a pressure seal between, like, this line down here is going to be a pressure seal so that if there's a break on either side, like over there or on there, then the air from the entire thing doesn't escape out. I'm going to try and have smaller rooms. It's just this warehouse one was such a big one to start with. But hopefully all the others will be sort of plenty of smaller airtight rooms, all connected to the same oxygen system. It's just, I guess, I made the analogy to a submarine. If one fills up with water, you don't want all of the rooms filling up with water. So this assembly room, I don't know if I liked this idea anymore. I was going to try and, there's nothing aesthetic down there. I might end up just kind of closing that off. I'm not sure. I added a few more assemblers in the corner here and had them turned around the wrong way, and then realized I could probably put like the productivity things on these, and I haven't with any of them. So I might have to turn them around and, do all the renaming and stuff like that. This is one of the doors. There's a door here, and there's a door on the other side, and a door in the middle up the top there, so you've got plenty of choices. These don't need to be double, like an airlock there, because the, if it was in an emergency, you'd keep them closed until you'd gone and repaired the problem. There's no need to do an airlock, and there's another door up there. Out here, I think, is where the timer area is going to go. That's what I'm going to do next. It's kind of like a mainframe room, I'm thinking, up here. So lots of timers and computery-looking stuff. If we had the... I forgot the name of the console mod pack. Is it the Cult one? That kind of stuff would go up in there. These lights, I'm hoping to have sensors everywhere. It's difficult to light up a big area in Space Engineers, especially with DX11 now. I updated everything, turned on Space Engineers, DX11 worked perfectly. And then, the next time I decided to load the game up, it crashed on the start. And it doesn't get past the loading screen now. So that's fun. And long day of work, sick, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to fix that now. But while DX was running, I wish I'd recorded before I turned the game off and then gone and played Disco Dodgeball for a little while. But before I started recording, it was working all well. I think Mir's done some performance updates to the server. Well, not updates, but he's done a lot of cleaning up, that kind of thing. So you can see the sim speed is up to 1. But if I stay on the server for... It might start happening towards the end of the episode, but it's probably another 20 minutes away. Then the sim speed just drops. I'm yet to... Yeah, it just seems the longer you stay on, the worse it gets. So I've got to relog every now and then. The FPS isn't the greatest. The FPS gets a lot better in DX11, as you'd expect, and it's not as hit, like the performance isn't hit as hard by lighting and shadows, that kind of thing. Again, as you'd expect with DX11, but it did nothing to help the sim speed. That problem still existed, and the FPS boost was barely noticeable in a game like this. Maybe in an FPS game you'd notice the extra 1.5 frame rate, but when you're dealing with the 20 frames a second I'm getting now, 1.5 times the frame rate doesn't really do much of a difference when you're just pottering around like this. Can you tell that it's 22 frames a second now? You probably can, now that I've pointed it out, but hopefully you're not that much of a pedant that you actually picked that out. But yeah, that does get better in DX11, but the game actually running smooth, well, I guess there's only so much you can polish a turd. So I'm hoping they just forget about the whole planets thing for a little while and get the game working before you lose any more players. Because anyway, let's not talk about the game. We do that too much. But to talk about the game some more, Mir's been doing some server cleaning. I was going to do that, but SE Toolbox just doesn't seem to be working for me at the moment. And then he offered, so I didn't put up much of a fight. So he removed a whole bunch of, do the deep clean as you do on a multiplayer server. You'll see it in the Merry Friends, I think, in about a week and a half, because we record that a little bit further ahead. I had some really big problems with desync, things flying all over the place like a rodeo. It's that's fun, and not being able to do a thing. So on that, I was pretty disheartened by that recording session, because I thought that was the end for the server. We'd reached a month and a half. I thought that was all that we could do, and we'd have to change world again. But Mir's got some more life out of it. Maybe there was a hot fix or something in between, that because it really did seem after the last update that it got massively worse. So hopefully there was something in there. We're also thinking about, because if you move out of the render distance, which on this server is set to 20,000 meters, the default 20 kilometers, which we can decrease as well as time goes on. Yeah, if you move outside of that 20 kilometers, fly that far away, then there's a pretty big performance increase. Moving, so everything unloads, all that kind of stuff. So I was thinking maybe we could move out that far, and as this is supposed to be a completely survival server, so no helps by a certain Mir, but I think for the performance related problems, just for the sake of you're keeping people going, especially like Minty down there at the SBA. His PC, both he and Mir have not the greatest PCs, so playing this game at all is, the fact that you can turn this game on usually is a miracle. If you don't have at least a reasonable PC, so it's not the greatest for them. So hopefully you'll get a little bit more life out of the game for them. I mean, Minty's soldiering on. He's one of the most active people here. But Yeah, and so thinking to get a little bit more life out of it, we could move everyone out 20 kilometers, take their asteroid and sort of drag them out, well, those who want to anyway, and leave this center area a little, I guess, like Minty's done that himself. He left the orchestrated pit up here, kind of like what Nordic Beast does. See, up there, 26 kilometers away, because of course he had a pretty bad PC for quite a long time, and he's played a lot of multiplayer on Space Engineers, a lot of multiplayer survival, that kind of stuff. So obviously he straight away did exactly what we're all trying to do now. He did that, at the start when we all should have. He moved a long way away and then put a forward base in the center, so he could come and visit wherever the forward base is. It's somewhere in here. So he can come and visit and have like a presence in the main area, but not be as worried about all the lag and whatnot when he goes back and just plays at his base. So that's what we're thinking we'll do, and like this donut will be moved down here. That is, of course, unless that itself causes performance problems. I haven't looked too much into whether moving an asteroid and a base would cause any problems with it, not unloading properly, that kind of thing, not matching the seed. Maybe someone watching knows a bit more about that, whether if I was to grab this in SE Toolbox and then throw it 25 so kilometers out in the distance away from everyone else, whether that in and of itself will cause performance problems. Hopefully not. There will be longer distances to cover, but I guess with the an unintentional side effect of having a speed cap, which we obviously need for the sake of the engine and being able to calculate physics at a reasonable rate. An unintended side effect of having the speed cap of 104 meters a second or 111 and when you're just flying around in your jetpack is that it kind of simulates the longer distances of space, because obviously even in the most densely populated asteroid belts, asteroids are a long way apart. There might be a lot of them, but space it tends to be big. So going from one asteroid to another is, I know this is kind of, at least to start with, it was kind of set in the Minor Wars universe. So the solar system had been blown up, and we would, the only humans left alive were the ones scrounging for resources off of from mining asteroids, that kind of thing. It's not really anymore, but that's where this kind of starts. But obviously, in actual space, you're not going to fly to another asteroid in a hurry. So I guess that it does kind of simulate the need to fly a bit further with when you combine a speed limit with having to fly 20 odd kilometers, because it takes a fair amount of time. It's not a small trip, so when you do it, you have to stock up properly, take a decent ship with the supplies that you need. I'll just fill up on oxygen while I'm here, and energy. Take the supplies that you need, and so it'll make things like ferries and transport ships, that kind of thing, a little bit more. Sorry, someone. Hello, Honda.
Hello. Hey. Are you on TeamSpeak?
No, I'm not. I'm actually recording right now for a Whitelist episode, and I accidentally clicked the answer the call instead of the hang up. So you're in my Whitelist episode.
Hello, Internet. No,
Well, sorry?
I'm actually outside right now, and I was bored, so I found out you're online on Skype.
Oh,
I'm actually sunbathing right now. It's pretty sweet.
that's right. You saying that you had actual hot temperatures in Sweden.
Yeah, it's probably like 25 Celsius or some shit like that.
A good temperature to sunbathe.
Probably like Christmas Eve for Australia, like the weather.
Or winter.
Or winter, yeah. Sorry for bothering you, but...
Oh, that's alright.
Okay.
It makes an interesting end to the episode.
Oh. But, you know those red bugs that have like a ladybug?
Yeah.
I saw a yellow one earlier. It landed on my arm. It was yellow.
Are they still called ladybugs?
I don't know. Fuck, a spider just crawled over me. Ah.
So it's like the outside isn't treating you well.
Yeah, it was a tiny spider. But yeah, it was a yellow ladybug. And I've never seen one of them earlier. So weird. Do they oh, hang on. There's a shit ton of ants out here, but hang on. Can you hear the outside, like the blowing wind and shit?
I can, but it's not too bad.
Oh, okay. That was good.
Yeah, I have to wrap this episode up, so do you mind if I take a quick break, Honda?
No, it's okay. I'll sign off Skype. I bought Ramirez or someone.
Yeah, Mia likes to be bothered.
Yeah, but he wasn't online, sadly.
Oh, try him anyway.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, he likes to trick people by being offline.
Okay.
He's always online.
Yeah, he must be. Or
Yeah.
I'm gonna start spamming him with messages in broken German.
Yes, his favorite way of being talked to.
Yeah. So I'll see you on TeamSpeak maybe if you're not going off.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm thinking of playing Disco Dodgeball, so I'll do that.
Good idea. Bye.
Oh. Oh, I love Honda. That was unexpected. Oh, this wraps up. I think I got through everything I wanted to get through. So this wraps up this episode on the whitelist. Thank you very much, Honda, and goodbye.